News Radio Wham 1180 welcomes you to the Seniors Rock Show, presented by Century Benefits Group, Medicare and Employee Benefits Advisors. The Seniors Rock Show is a lively weekly discussion shining a bright light on aging with fun, entertaining, and important info for all adults. Join in with your comments or questions. Call 222-1180 or 1-800-295-1180. Now, live from the News Radio Wham 1180 studios in downtown Rochester, here's your host, Joanna Palvino.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am your host, and I will be with you for the next hour. And also with us is my co-host, estate planning attorney Mike Robinson. Our iHeart studio producer, Noah, is here today, and I'm glad to see him. Pam's traveling, and I would like to welcome you all. And I'm glad you're here with us. I hope you'll stay with us for the next hour, as I said. And today we're going to welcome a couple of our favorite guests. Both are focused on making growing older better. And Dr. Lisa Russell from AGAPE Physical Therapy will be here first. She excels at supporting adults of any age to feel strong and healthy. Aquatic therapy is a specialty of Lisa's, and she's here today to explain how that aquatic physical therapy helps her clients with chronic pain. That will be very interesting. And I've seen the pools at AGAPE. They're really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're going to shine a bright light on healthy aging again with Dr. Laura Petrescu of ATHENA Direct Primary Care and Lifestyle Medicine. She's here to tell us about healthy guts and why the saying healthy gut, happy life is so true. Right now, my co-host, estate planning attorney Mike Robinson, is over there thinking, remember me? He looks like he's lost, but you're not. You're still here. Hi, Mike.
Happy Saturday, Joanna. No, I know right where I am. I'm right here. So that all works out.
I saw you daydreaming over there. I just want to make sure you were still here. Okay,
I'm still here.
You guys.
And I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, right? Because I missed the show a couple of weeks ago because I was under the weather. You were in warmer climes last weekend, so
yeah.
Welcome
so we're all
back.
Together again. It's nice. And now Pam's traveling. We sound like a bunch of travelers, but we're not.
Indeed. So
it's kind of rare, but it's good to be back.
This is true. And, this week I wanted to mention a couple of mistakes, Joanna, I see people make with uniform transfers to Minors Act accounts, or UTMA accounts as they're commonly known. And these are accounts that people will set up most commonly for a child or a grandchild. It's a way to make a gift to them, but not let that child have access until they're older. And it is a custodial account. Once you make the transfer into that account, it is an irrevocable transfer. So that money now belongs to the child. It's just that the child is not in control of the money until they reach an appropriate age. And we'll talk about that in a moment. So the first mistake I see people make is they don't name a successor custodian. When you open the account, let's say you're opening it for your grandson or granddaughter, you as the grandparent are the custodian of the account. That means you're in control of, if it's an investment, how the investments are made. You decide how and when, or even if there's any distributions to be made from that account. But if you die or become incapacitated, if you haven't named a successor custodian, then one of two things is going to happen. If the child is age 14 or older, they can name a successor custodian, but otherwise there's going to have to be a court proceeding in order to name a successor custodian. And of course, if you don't name the successor custodian, you don't know who that person is going to be. So assuming that such an account is appropriate for what your purpose is, if you're going to establish the account, very important to name a successor custodian. And then the second, I'm sorry, did you have a question there, Joanna?
No, I just wanted to see if my mic was working because I just got a message. Do I sound okay now? Is it better, Noah?
It's a little better. We might have to troubleshoot it during the break.
Okay, great. Sorry to interrupt you there, Mike, but I was getting a message.
No worries. So the second mistake that I do see people make is when you establish that account, you have to turn the money over when the child reaches age 21, age 18 in some limited circumstances, but the default on those accounts is that the money has to be turned over to the child when they reach age 21. And what I oftentimes see is that somebody's still holding the account, even though the child is in their 20s or later 20s or even 30s. They don't even maybe let the child know that that account exists. That's a violation of the law. So
Mm.
if you're going to establish that account, you need to understand that when that child reaches age 21, you got to turn the account over to them. So
Oh,
don't make that mistake and miss that requirement.
very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. What was the name of it again? Tell us again.
So it's a Uniform Transfers to Minors Act account, and they're authorized in, I don't know if it's most states, but a great many states, and New York included among them. And again, it's established when people want to make a gift to a child or a grandchild, or it doesn't have to be a relative, could be just someone you're fond of, but they want to actually make that gift but not let the child have control of it until the child has matured, a little bit. So, there's certainly appropriate in some circumstances, maybe inappropriate in others. So, as with most things we talk about in estate planning, if you're going to look at establishing that account, have a conversation with your estate planning attorney to make sure it is the right vehicle to use for the purpose you intend that account for.
Always a very wise thing to do. And I thought about you this past week when one of the celebrities passed away and apparently did not have an estate plan. And I can't think of his name right now, but do you know who I'm talking about? And I
I
guess,
do. It
yeah,
was it
yeah,
was a musician,
yep.
and One Direction I know was the band that he was with, and
Hmm.
yeah, so there's a perfect example of what happens when you don't plan. He has a very young daughter, I believe it is,
Yep.
and yeah, this person is worth a great deal of money. I think the estimate I saw was a $32 million estate,
Hmm.
and that little girl, when she reaches age 18, is going to receive a whole lot of money, and
Right.
that may not be a very good result.
And it seems that there's other people that are vying for it too. So interesting stuff again when it comes to celebrities. You would think that they'd be getting the proper kind of information from estate planning attorneys or someone, but apparently not.
Well, and one of my favorite stories in that regard, Joanna, is the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Warren Burger. Um, I mean, the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. Not a whole lot of people know more about the law than that individual. Um, he made up himself a simple 3-page will, which wound up costing his family hundreds of thousands of dollars in estate taxes.
Wow.
So it's surprising what happens out there.
Yeah, it sure is. And thank you for, clarifying these things for us every week. It's important. And folks, as Mike says all the time, talk to your estate planning attorney, even if it isn't him. There's lots of good ones in this area. So do not let that fall to the wayside. It's not something you want to do. And I was thinking, the things that we talk about on the show are very health focused. And your information, the estate planning is a separate thing and very important too, but health is a big focus on this show. So I'd like to remind you that May is National Asthma Awareness Month, in that there's a direct link between poor indoor air quality and asthma triggers. You can avoid them by getting a thorough duct cleaning from your heating and air conditioning duct system. That make May the month you call the experts at Indoor Air Professionals, and don't forget about what you can't see. It's your indoor air. Peter Gordon, one of the founders of Indoor Air Professionals, who's been on the show many times, is available today to answer your questions, give you a no obligation quote, and help you to finally make this important health decision if you haven't. Call Peter at Indoor Air Pros for the gold standard in duct cleaning, with a big 15% off and hundreds off of their medical grade air purifiers too. And bonus, folks, a duct cleaning will mean less dusting. That could be the best Mother's Day present ever. Call Peter today, 585 427 8020. And he is waiting at extension 303. So Peter's a hoot, and he likes to remind us about all those gross things. But I'm telling you, that dusting part is awesome. So, folks, give them a call. And next, we're going to talk to Dr. Lisa Russell. She joins us from AGAPE Physical Therapy, and she's going to discuss aquatic therapy, which I think is awesome. I love that. And it does help with chronic pain, and she'll tell you how right here on News Radio WHAM 1180 and Seniors Rock Radio. Welcome back to Seniors Rock Radio. I am Joanna, and you're listening live to us today, and we also are with our first guest. AGAPE Physical Therapy is a local family-owned practice. I've worked with them many times, and I can't say enough about the quality of the practice. They're excellent therapists and the caring family that still manages and guides AGAPE after decades in Rochester. Joining us now is Dr. Lisa Russell. She is a physician liaison and clinic coordinator at AGAPE's Brockport office. She's a board-certified orthopedic specialist here today to talk about aquatics. Lisa is a certified aquatic therapist using the Burdenko method. I think I said that right. Welcome to Seniors Rock, Dr. Lisa Russell. Hi, Lisa. Where is she? She's not with us? Lisa Russell, did you send her the link? Yeah, I don't know where she is. Huh, interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't realize she wasn't with us there. I think that we should probably flip over there to Dr. Petrescu then. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Sorry, folks. A little confusion there.
This is the beauty of live radio.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody want to call and talk to us? Because I'm not sure what's happening here. Yeah, and can you hear me okay? I guess I'm having some issues here with the audio. So, we're just going to keep going. And
yep, you're coming through for me.
Okay, good. Dr. Petrescu, are you there? Can you tune in? We're going to go to you first. Oh, you must have walked away. All right. Well, anyways. Yeah, let's talk about what's going on in the world today. I think there's a couple of things I wanted to mention. And
there's Dr. Petrescu.
There she is. Doctor, can you turn your mic on? We're going to go to you because Dr. Lisa has not joined us yet. And
all right.
Yeah. So, Mike, take it away, and I'll see if I can get a hold of Dr. Russell.
Okay. So I know, Doctor, you want to talk to us today about the gut microbiome, which, of course, that's an ecosystem that lives in our intestines. Some gut bacteria are more helpful than other types. So I know you've got some good information about how we can optimize our gut health. So what is the microbiome and why is it important for health?
Hi, Mike. Hi, Joanna. It's nice being back on the show with you guys. Good seeing you. The microbiome, a very interesting new concept that we're learning more and more about every day. But the microbiome really consists of the whole a diverse community of microbes that we live in perfect harmony with since birth. And this community of microbes evolve with us and absolutely change as we age and influence every aspect of our health. You mentioned the gut. Yes, absolutely. Most of the microbiome resides in the gut. However, we do have helpful bacteria in the mouth, in the oral cavity, in the urogenital system, and on the skin. The right balance of microorganisms in this area will affect our health in many different ways.
And how do we know if our microbiome is balanced? And if not, what can we do to improve that balance?
Right. So a number of symptoms have been associated with a disrupted microbiome, which we call dysbiosis. A disrupted balance between the good microorganisms and the bad microorganism is a dysbiosis. So a number of symptoms have been associated with that. The most obvious ones are GI symptoms, as in diarrhea, constipation, bloating. But other symptoms, skin rashes, allergies, asthma, brain fog, memory impairment, autoimmune disease, that now we have learned are connected, directly linked to gut dysbiosis. So extremely important to learn more about the health of your gut and how this may be related with various different functions, including memory decline and autoimmune disease, which I find extremely interesting.
It is interesting because I would just naturally think it's going to be a gastrointestinal issue, but it impacts so much more.
It does, because if we think about it, 70% of our immune system resides in the gut. And our immune system regulates and modulates all other functions, including our ability to fight infections and fight cancer and fight inflammation. And I know in previous shows we talked about how inflammation in the brain can affect cognitive function over time. It turns out it all originates in the gut through the gut-brain axis. That's why keeping this gut microbiome healthy is extremely beneficial. Now we have, how do we know? Apart from the symptoms, we have a number of tests that we can do to actually measure and quantify what kind of genera and species of bacteria is in the gut, which are the beneficial ones, which are the harmful ones, and how we can remove the harmful ones and restore the healthy ones to restore health. And
Gotcha.
we also
So I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm getting the signal we do have to go to break. So Dr. Laura Petrescu, 585-662-5510 or ATHENADirectCare.com to learn more about what you can do to make sure your gut biome is balanced. And Doctor, as always, thank you for that great information. And folks, stay with us. We'll be back after the break here on Seniors Rock Radio and News Radio Wham 1180.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness,
Welcome back to Seniors Rock Radio. And thank you, Mike, for picking out the mother-themed breaks today, the bumps, the music bumps. And joining us now actually is Dr. Lisa Russell. She's with us now. We lost her a little while ago, but we found her. She is the physician liaison and clinic coordinator at AGAPE's Rockport office. She's a board-certified orthopedic specialist, and she is here today to talk about aquatics. Lisa is a certified aquatic therapist, and she's using the Burdenko method. We're going to find out about that now. Welcome back to Seniors Rock, Dr. Lisa Russell.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Great to have
you back. Yeah. So, Dr. Russell, let's start with the basic question. What is the Burdenko method and who can benefit from it?
Definitely. So a couple years ago, I had the opportunity to go to Cape Cod actually for this training to a beautiful facility and learn from the person who created this. His name is Igor Burdenko, and he's world renowned working with figure skaters and divers. And basically, he created this method for strengthening and improving range of motion. His field was really in the athletics, but anybody can benefit from it now because he's in the rehab setting. And basically what it is a combination of land and water. And you're really just trying to improve your strength and your mobility and just get back to whatever it is that you want to get back to. So if it's something, you know, as high level and elite as figure skating, or even down to something basic, like you want to just be able to garden and get up and down off of the ground. Those are the people that we see a ton in the office. And so you could definitely benefit if you're having trouble with that.
That's a wonderful thing. And I know I have a lot of friends who go to the Y and they do, water exercises, but I'm starting to wonder now, I have to ask you, what if you don't like the water? What happens if someone doesn't like water?
Definitely. So like I said, the Burdenko method really is a combination of both. So if you don't like the water, we can just do the land portion. And we also at AGAPE Physical Therapy, we also have anti-gravity treadmills at all of our locations. And that's really the benefit of the water, is that we're reducing gravity. And so that's what we end up doing in the anti-gravity treadmill, is we just offload your spine, offload your joints, decrease that pressure, and then we're able to work on balance and strength and things like that. But just instead of using the water, we'll use the anti-gravity treadmill.
And some of that, doctor, if I understand correctly, is or can be sports specific, right? It can be,
Definitely.
if someone's a golfer, a tennis player, a swimmer, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll tailor whatever the activity is, and really try to work towards your specific goals. And we have golf simulators at 2 of our locations in Brockport and in Chili. So if you're a golfer, that's a huge one. We love to see golfers, especially this time of year. Everybody's itching to get out on the green. And so just that's definitely something that we specialize in. But again, any athletes that want to come in, I played volleyball, I played softball, I was also a swimmer. I honestly, probably all of us were athletes. Usually when you get into the physical therapy field, it's because you were affected by some sort of an injury, usually from sports.
And which locations have pools?
Yeah, so we have 4 locations with aquatics. The Brockport location where I am, we have a deep end. So we're the only location that has that. And it's actually an in-ground pool, which is awesome. We have an underground treadmill and a seat in there so you can sit and do some exercises in there. And then the other locations are Gates, Penfield, and Webster. They have aquatic tracks, which is really cool.
Yeah, I've been to several of the locations, and they are really, you've got some really cool stuff. You're right. And I wanted to mention too that you do these social media blogs and some very good information on those. Lisa, tell the folks about those and where they can find them.
Yeah, so I love being able to run our social media on Instagram and on Facebook, and then I have our blog on our website. And I really am just trying to give people free information of what we provide. And so one of my most recent ones was, people wanting to get out in the spring and being able to exercise and things like that. So I'm just giving you some basics of, it's important to stretch, it's important to warm up, it's important to take breaks, things like that, it's just good to have a resource of, hey, I'm thinking about this, I'm starting to go outside and walk more, but my ankle hurts. Maybe Agape Physical Therapy, if I look at their blog, they'll have a couple of stretches to give me that I can try. And then if you're still not feeling good, then we really want you to come in and be evaluated by a physical therapist. We only have doctors of physical therapy at all of our locations, which is great. So you'll never be seen by an assistant or anybody like that. You'll be always treated, unless somebody's on vacation, you'll be seen by the same therapist every session, which people really love that, because we build relationships. I know, Joanna, you talk about Pat and Erie and Greece all the time, and you just build that bond with your therapist. So it's really important to us.
It's important to me too, and I'm sure it is to other folks that are coming for physical therapy. And I am still, every time, I think, oh boy, I don't know if I want to go. I'm a little stiff, my leg hurts or something's going on. And I drag myself over there. And guess what? I leave with a smile on my face after having Pat help me to stretch and actually feel better. It always works. And also, by the way, great music. I'm always asking him, what are you playing here? Really, it's motivational.
Good. I'm glad.
So yeah, great people, folks. Please check out Agape Physical Therapy, any of their locations. They're all around Rochester. If you would like to, just stretch, get ready for walking, like Lisa said, or any of the things that you like to do in the summer. And I love that you mentioned gardening because, at a certain point, it gets a little bit more difficult to get down there and do those things, even with your little knee pad or whatever.
Definitely. Yeah. So that's what we recommend, try to work on those things, try to do some squats, try to do, and, a basic sit and stand, like standing at your counter with the chair behind you, doing some exercises like that to loosen up your hips, loosen up your knees. We had a long winter, folks. So some things kind of get stiff and then you just want to get it back out. And I'm working on a blog right now talking about hiking, which is exciting too. A lot of patients coming in saying, oh, I've got these plans to go hiking in the Adirondacks or some local places around. So I definitely am including, some local spots. So that's another thing I like to put out there is, check out these other things to do in the Rochester area, because like Joanna said, we have 6 Rochester locations. Our locations are farthest west is Brockport. Then we have Gates, Greece, Chili, Penfield, and Webster. So a big span of area. We really want to make sure that you're taken care of.
Excellent, folks. Please check out Dr. Lisa Russell or any of the doctors of physical therapy at Agape PT. They're all around. And what's the best way to reach them? Easy, agapephysicaltherapy.com. Recovery, wellness, and performance really do start at Agape Physical Therapy. Thank you, Lisa. We'll see you again soon.
When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. Everything falls into place like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me.
All right, folks, and welcome back to Seniors Rock Radio. And Richard's on the line with a good question. Richard, hello, and thanks for calling in.
Good morning, Mike and Joanna. I have a couple of questions. If I'm looking for an estate planner, what kind of questions should I be asking them? What might it cost, and what information will they want from me?
Okay, those are great questions. In terms of what questions should you be asking, my philosophy on that is really the attorney should be doing most of the asking. I think one of the failures of a lot of consultations is the attorney talks too much and doesn't really understand where the client's coming from. So I want to preface my response with that. But, you know, certainly you're going to have some questions. I think the most important ones are, do they focus exclusively on estate planning and estate administration? Because this is a complex area, and there's just so many different contingencies that can arise. You really want to be working with someone who has focused on this area and has done it for a long time. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 40 years now, and I'm still learning as we go. So very important there. Also, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. This is important to you and your family, and the attorney should be able to explain things to you in plain English. If they're not, if you're really not getting what they're saying, don't be bashful. Make sure that you do ask for that information. In terms of cost, you know, different firms operate differently. I know many attorneys will consult, do an initial consultation at no cost. Some may charge for it. Either way, even if someone does charge, it's not a bad investment if you're going to be getting some good information. And what do you want to provide to them? You know, at the first meeting, probably you don't need a lot of specifics, but you want to have a general idea of what your assets are and how you hold title to them. And really, you just want to think about, if everything could work out perfectly for you, what would you want to have happen? And then if the attorney can really understand that, then they can help guide you in terms of constructing the plan that's going to accomplish your goals. So I hope that's helpful, but that's what I would say.
Yes, it is very helpful.
All right. And again, thanks so much for calling in. And if you've got a mom in your family, please wish them a happy Mother's Day for us.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Richard. All right, good questions there, Joanna. And happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you very much.
As well as to all of our listeners.
Yes, I hope everyone has a wonderful Mother's Day, and you know, just kick back, relax, and enjoy being with each other. That's what I'd like to say. And what else is happening this weekend? I wanted to mention before I forget that it is the last weekend. Thank you, by the way, for Mike for covering last week when I was away. And I know Mike Crosper was here with you. He did a great job, and he talked about his pool and spa customer appreciation sale. And that is happening this weekend. It'll be over. So, folks, they do amazing deals for that, and it's a lot of fun. They have all kinds of things happening out at the Crosper Brothers Pool and Spa location. Please check that out if you haven't already. And the other thing I want to mention is GRAPE. We talk about the Greater Rochester Area Partnership for the Elderly, and you and I and most of the folks on the show are members of that. And this week we'll be out in force on the United Way Day of Caring, and that is Thursday the 15th. So I wanted to congratulate anybody else that's out there that will be doing that. The Day of Caring is a wonderful way to get involved in the community and, you know, and with your friends and your family or whoever else you're going to be with. So, Mike, what do you have going on this week?
Well, you know, it is obviously Mother's Day weekend, but it's also the opening weekend of the Lilac Festival. And
oh, yeah.
Wow, what we got lucky with the weather here after after a long, wet, cool span. So I've already talked to a number of people who are planning on incorporating a trip to the Lilac Festival for their Mother's Day celebration. So yeah, otherwise I'm cutting the lawn. I may have to borrow a hay rake and a baler from a neighbor because it's the first I've been able to get to it. But I'm going to do as much as I can outside this weekend. So anyway, everybody, thanks again for listening. Joanna, thank you. And folks, be well and be kind.
Hey, folks, come back next week. We are here live every week at 11. And next week, Mike King from Century Benefits Group is back, as well as Gigi from Touching Hearts at Home. They're two of our favorites as well, and we'll always have great information for you. And thank you for joining us again. It's been a wonderful time getting to know everybody today and getting to know people. And Richard, thanks for calling. Noah, thanks for helping us on the air. And thanks for staying with us today when we had a little bit of a confusion for a few minutes, but who cares, right? We're here, we support everyone, and we're here to support each other. So you'll find that every week on Seniors Rock Radio, and you'll find all our sponsors at seniorsrockradio.com. I wanted to mention that. And while you're there, drop us a line on the contact page. Please join us again next Saturday. Tell your friends to listen and remind them next time you see them that seniors rock.